So people have been seeing my growth over the years and told me that I came so far and they were so proud of me. Personally, I'm just so grateful that I was being able to keep up my sanity for all this year. I credit my growth to four major events/experiences that I like to call them wake-up calls. Why wake-up calls? I'll explain in a bit. Growing up in the countryside, I didn't learn much. I came to this city when I was 16 years old with not a clue or idea of how my life would be in a possible future. I'm not saying that I was naive, but rather insecure and unsure of the consequences of my young adult life. Supposedly, I thought life would be kind of easy, and that's why the wake up calls come in. I thought life would be kind of easy to just go on the same route and doing like what everyone else doing, get education, get a job, start a family. But when it comes to the actual thing, it's the exact opposite. I think for the time span of 11 years that I've been living in the city, I've just been really living the last 3 or 4 years as I've been exposed to new things, good and bad, or probably worse at one point. But those were chance of events needed for character development. I would consider myself to be really outgoing and sociable, but I didn't used to be like this at all. I would consider myself as an outcast and not good enough or not fortunate enough to be friends with people. Most certainly that I was a quiet kid and usually very awkward in any conversations. I met like three friends from college, but for the others, the relationship wasn't lost because I wasn't sure about what I was doing, hence the reactions and the energy that I gave out to them didn't make them enough to stay. I went to college for a civil engineering degree because I was a big nerd at high school, and I thought that it would be cool to just like worry about numbers and stuff and not worry about people. I had my first job when I was 21 years old, which was roughly 6 years ago, and I got fired from that, and also the other one, both were engineering related, because I wasn't fit for the job. I just thought it was so boring. When I got a chance to work in a media company mid 2016, about 4 years ago, totally random. It was really funny because surprisingly, I liked it. And I thought, wow, I should have went to college for this. So life wasn't easy as I thought, and the fact that I'm currently doing a job that I didn't learn back at school, I think that was the wake up call number one. So I was working in that company for 6 months, and I decided to come out. And I wanted to be more comfortable with my journey and finally start dating. Or that's what I thought I was doing. The reaction that I got from my coworkers wasn't cool though. Most of the stuff there were early modern my people, and they didn't take gay people seriously. It wasn't a sense that I got attacked or discriminated against, but like the act of like teasing and making fun of, I didn't like it. People will probably be like, Theo, who did you go out with last night? Where did you come from? What else did you do? It was an act of invasion privacy, and I felt like I needed to glamorize my gay experience all the time just because I was out. I mean, I could tell them all the details, but I don't think that they would be comfortable enough for that. This gave me an urge to find a better community for myself, that my sexuality shouldn't be stigmatized so much on everything that I do. Probably why I hang out with a lot of expats. See, coming out wasn't easy, but it wasn't as bad as I thought, and I think that was the wake-up call number two. Okay, so the first guy that was kind of seeing, he introduced me to some old places in Phnom Penh, like Thais and Shobak, rest in peace. I'm really sad that those places got closed down because man, those were the days. He also took me to Blue Chili, He gave me my new favorite hobby, and guess what? Drinking. I was 23 at the time, but I've never done something like this before, just like going out with friends, drinking. I think I became a little bit of an alcoholic, and that was my wake up call number three. However, there was a catch when it comes to living socially back then, because as you know that Cambodian government they didn't care too much about the citizen minimum wage, which allows some company to pay their employee a minimum of $140 a month. So when I just got the job at that company, they pay me $150 a month. Well, luckily I was still living with my parents, so I didn't have to pay rent. So I was just like going out partying, balling with my $150. Well, that wouldn't be enough because I just got introduced to gin and tonic, and gin and tonic was like $2.50 a glass. So like, how much for $150 for gin and tonic? About like 60 glass, and I've been drinking for like 5 or 6 days per week. So like 2 or 3 glass per day. That wouldn't be enough. But a lot of margin was because I went to school for engineering, but like I needed more money. So I decided to look for extra job and even bartending. Okay, going back to the guy that I was saying a little bit. Unfortunately, me and him, we didn't work out. On the first date, he asked me that he would want to know me more and is it cool if I would marry him and move to his country with him? And I was like, yes, no, maybe. I kind of stopped hanging out with him like a month later. We're still friends now though because he still live in the city. And I know Denver that this is such a tiny city. We like kind of scared each other like ever. So that is sucks. And I don't know how to do it properly. In fact, I still don't know how to do it until now. I think that was the wake up call number 4. After all of these four wake up calls, I feel like it's gonna be 10 or 20 more wake up calls. So I stopped counting it. What's the point? Back to the drinking part. Okay, so I had my first bar experiences. I started my first ever part-time job. I was bartending a show bar for about 4 months. I earned about like $60 to $80 more to spend. So it was great. I got drunk almost every night. But in terms of that primitive lifestyle that I had back then, one thing that I was really grateful for was the friends that I made over time. They were there for me when I was really drunk at times, shouldn't and couldn't drive home, or drunk at literally when I shouldn't or couldn't drive home. Well, Grab wasn't available back then, and it's like about 8 kilometers from the city center to my parents' house. It was Sammy. Hi, Sammy. And the infamous couch that filled me up almost every weekend. If I went to church, that couch would be my church. Pretty comfortable couch to be fair. And I'm actually kind of miss it. And that wasn't just the only couch. I've been couched at my friend's couch from time to time. It wasn't great, but I wasn't driving home drunk. Well, social life was fun, I guess, but my career was progressing very slowly. I always had problems with money, but my friends always had my back, and that means a lot to me. I was very cheerful, energetic, and youthful that I thought, yes, I can do this. Little did I know that I was prepared for an even bigger challenge, the challenge of love, my identity, and what I really wanted in life. Some people have the privilege that they could experimenting early on in terms of dating, but some don't. The fact that I never had dating experiences before, that was the sole reason that I was so fragile and easy to put myself in a position that I couldn't control over. That being said, I prematurely fell in love with someone that I shouldn't have. Not the guy that introduced me to drinking though. Bless him. Everything back then was so new to me. The concept of monogamous, polyamorous, open relationship. gay relationships are wild, man. It's complicated. I was just 20 years old Cambodia boy. But long story short, I fell in love with someone, got my heart broken for the first time, and honestly, I don't know how could I survive that. At 25, I had a mental roadblock. I didn't know how I could get out of that situation. I was manic and depressed. It was such a difficult period of time to go through while I was focusing on my career as well. Everything was relatively new to me, and it took me a toll to finally function from time to time. It was good and bad, but mostly bad. I turned into such a stone cold person at one point precisely because I was hurt and really damaged. I hated everyone. I didn't want to be friends with people easily anymore, the fear that I realized in life. In order to succeed, people tear each other down, drag each other down, and fighting for the spotlight. In order to, and the circle keep continuing. I made so many friends over the year, but some of those we aren't really friends anymore because I'm no longer a catch, no longer beneficial to them, no longer a point on the chessboard for them to play. It's just basic human nature after all. We are attracted to wealth, beauty, fame, and all of those unnecessary luxury. And I'm happy that I realized all that, which gave me the strength for what's next to come. My friend Katie told me that I had a quarter life crisis or a queer life crisis. Well, that was quite a scary term to hear, but all of those wine nights and drinks that we had together did help me and Katie and my other friend Emily spend so much time and talked about many things in life. We talked about their experiences and gave me hopes that I was going to get better and I'm going to get past it, and I did, considering I still have a lot of misconceptions when it comes to living life. Well, come to think of it, it wasn't all bad, but at the time I think I was mainly focused on the negativities and just let it bring more negativity to my life. Last year, I also thought that nothing was going to get better too, COVID and everything, but it also did. I just have to look at life in a different perspective. So my goal was to look into that and just let all of those bad experiences be my lessons and grow from it. Don't get me wrong, right now I'm still very inexperienced, so I can tell that more hardship are going to happen. Instead of focusing too much on the big picture all the time, the feeling like needing to accomplish something, I should never forget just to live, just breathe, one at a time. So the need of finding love, life, career, bad friendship, and alcohol corrupted me, but ain't we all related? It broke me, healed me, and constantly put me in mind races that I need to figure out most of the time. All this hardship made me realize that life isn't all about sunshine and rainbow, and it shouldn't be. No matter how hard it gets, I'll find a way to break through and survive. Thank you.